Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cool Karnis. This is your host and dost Sanjeev Kulkarni. Hope all of you had a wonderful and a happy Deepavali. The best part about college friends reconnecting is that regardless of whether you met a day ago, a year ago, or even 25 years ago, the camaraderie, the warmth, and the madness stays just as is. As you would have rightly guessed, our guest today on the Cool Karnis is a good college buddy, Pankaj Athawale. Pankaj and I have been in touch socially because our respective careers took us different places. But this is the first time I'm interacting with him so openly like this after 25 years. He is a cool Karni because he's the one who never went down the stereotype. He continued pursuing his passion. He started his journey as an RJ, then a sports broadcaster, then a coach, then a sportsman himself, then a skill trainer, and now a social entrepreneur. And I'm pretty sure I missed out something in this mix. This 2 hours conversation with him, which will be split into two episodes, was exciting, was educative, and mad fun. One disclaimer here, we tried to stick to our theme and we tried to stick to English as a language. But when two friends get together and there is no principal monitoring you, what do you expect? There is a lot of banter, but we hope that you will love this banter. You will also love how Pankaj has crafted his journey so far, and you'll get some interesting tidbits. So, without further ado, let us now meet our cool Karni for the day, Pankaj Athawale.
जी हाँ दोस्तों, तो आज हम आपके सामने प्रस्तुत कर रहे हैं वो जो ठाणे के पेविलियन एंड से निकल के तेजी से पिच की तरफ बढ़ते हुए इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज की तरफ आइरोली इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज की तरफ जाते हुए पिच का मुआयना करते हुए बल्लेबाज आ पहुंचे हैं क्रीज पे। चलिए देखते हैं ये भी बाकी बल्लेबाजों की तरह आईटी ड्राइव का शॉट मार के 2 या 3 रन लेते हैं या फिर ये कुछ और करते हैं। फाइनल एग्जाम तेजी से बल्लेबाज की तरफ बढ़ते हुए और ये क्या अद्भुत शॉट मारा है। बड़ा ही एंटरप्रेन्योरियल शॉट था ये, सीधा 6 रन। अरे क्या बात है, क्या बात है। तो आइए मिलते हैं इस बल्लेबाज से। इनसे इनसे अरे यार क्या नाम है यार इनका। हाँ, अठौले अठौले। अरे पंकज अठौले। तो पंकज, वेलकम टू आवर शो द कूल कर्नीज।
Thank you, Sanjeev. Really nice to meet you after approximately 25 years. After a quarter of a century, तेरे में ज़्यादा कुछ फर्क आया नहीं है, भले तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया में है और आपकी त्वचा से आपकी उम्र का पता नहीं चलता, ये जानते हुए मुझे बड़ी खुशी हो रही है।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद पंकज। मैं भी आपके बारे में यही कहूँगा। I know that it's probably been 25 years since we have been in touch like this, but I think we have, in terms of following what you have been doing, I've been doing that for a long time, and really really proud of you. And this podcast is a way to understand that itself. But उससे पहले I want to ask you, आपको हमारा इंट्रोडक्शन कैसा लगा?
अरे बहुत जबरदस्त। एंड यू हैव डन ए वंडरफुल जॉब एंड यस ऑफ कोर्स वो जो आपने बोला ना, इट एक्चुअली टुक मी बैक टू अबाउट 30 इयर्स व्हेन वी फर्स्ट मेट इन द इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज, और वहां से जो शुरू हुआ है, इट्स बीन फैंटास्टिक। थैंक यू फॉर सच अ वंडरफुल इंट्रोडक्शन।
Absolutely, man. Can't forget those days जहाँ पे we would get on that rickety Khatara ST bus and make our way to Airoli, and then the coming back जहाँ पे ऐसे लिफ्ट मांग मांग के हम लोगों के से किसी के बाइक पे या किसी के कार में बैठ के फाइनली ठाणे पहुंचते थे हम लोग। Those are the wonderful days, man.
Exactly. Those days taught us that yes, we were poor and it was fun to be poor, and how to survive as a poor man. It taught us a lot of things.
Absolutely, man. And it was survival at the best, I'm telling you honestly. I mean, and मैं एक और बात बोलूं पंकज, उससे पहले मैं थोड़ा साधु टाइप का बच्चा था यार। I mean, I would stay away from, हाँ एक्चुअली, बिलीव इट और नॉट, मुश्किल होगा बिलीव करना, बट गाली वगैरह में ज्यादा देता नहीं था यार। I mean, I could not. बट वो जो जब हम लोग आइरोली के वो स्टॉप पे खड़े रह के वी वुड आस्क फॉर लिफ्ट, और you know how some of those people would kind of try to say that they're giving you a lift और निकल जाते थे आगे.
हाँ.
तब से जो गाली देना शुरू किया है ना बॉस, यानी अब तक पीछे मुड़ के देखा नहीं है बाद में.
नहीं तो बेसिकली साधु और शैतान नाम की एक बहुत अच्छी फिल्म आई थी
बिल्कुल
व्हिच वाज महमूद की. तो आप पर वो ही बनाई थी बिकॉज पहले आप इंजीनियरिंग करने से पहले साधु थे, उसके
बिल्कुल
बाद शैतान बन गए.
शैतान
एंड
बन गए.
या एंड दोस्तों ये एक इट्स आल्सो एडवर्टाइजिंग फॉर इंजीनियरिंग दैट यू डोंट आप सो इंजीनियरिंग करके लेट मी टेल यू आप बिल्कुल बिगड़ नहीं जाते.
करेक्ट.
ये दुनिया ऐसी होती है इसीलिए हमको ऐसा करना पड़ता है.
करना पड़ता
वी
है.
आर नॉट बैड.
यस. हम पागल नहीं है भैया, हमारा दिमाग खराब है और ये दुनिया खराब है, इसीलिए हम
नहीं
ऐसे.
ये दुनिया अभी देखो वो लिफ्ट मांगने वाले कभी आपने ट्राई किया है. मैं और संजीव जैसे खड़े थे, आप भी कभी खड़े रहिएगा लोग लिफ्ट मांगने के लिए और लोग आके आपको हुल देकर निकल जाएंगे. तो ये
करेक्ट.
आपकी गलती नहीं है, आप तो साधु है. लेकिन
हाँ,
आप वो समाज आपको शैतान बनाता है.
शैतान बनाता है. करेक्ट करेक्ट. तो इसके जिम्मेदार है ये पापी समाज.
यस
यस,
यस एब्सोल्युटली.
एब्सोल्युटली. तो पंकज, आई विल गो बैक टू द इंट्रोडक्शन. आपको हमारा इंट्रोडक्शन कैसा लगा और उसके बारे में मैं कुछ कहना चाहता हूँ. पहले आप
बिल्कुल.
बताइए कि आपको कैसा लगा इंट्रोडक्शन.
बहुत जबरदस्त लगा इन द सेंस आपने मैं समझ गया कि आपने बहुत होमवर्क किया है जैसे आप कॉलेज में नहीं करते थे. लेकिन
हाँ.
जिंदगी ने आपको सुधार दिया और अब कम से कम आप होमवर्क करके अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, ये समझ में आ गया.
नहीं यार देखो, ऐसा ये गलत बात है कि मैं कॉलेज में होमवर्क नहीं करता था. कॉलेज में भी करता था लेकिन सब कुछ लास्ट मिनट पे करता था, तो वो अभी तक बदला.
अभी जाने दो यार, 30 साल पहले किसने देखा है, छोड़ो. एग्रीड. तुम
करेक्ट.
जो बोलो वो.
तो वो बात अभी भी बदला नहीं है. तो टू ऑल आवर व्यूअर्स आई वांट टू कॉल दिस आउट कि द रीजन आई सेड दैट देयर इज अ IT drive and you get 1 or 2 runs, and here is an entrepreneurial shot that has produced 6 runs. The reason behind that is most of us, I'm sure there are others like Pankaj, but most of us probably have gone down the IT path or some engineering path true to what we studied. And now, if I look at probably the LinkedIn profiles of these people, or in general what they have done, you'll probably see 2 or 3 things at best. You're doing your IT job, you have a passion, and something like that. But if you look at Pankaj's profile today, you will see 6 roles listed there. And ये coincidence ही था honestly. मैं वैसे भी छक्का बोलने वाला था. But incidentally, there are 6 roles that Pankaj has listed there, and I'm going to read them out. He's a social entrepreneur. He's a sports broadcaster. He's a sports management coach. He's an author. He's a faculty, and he's a skill trainer. तो ये है छक्का, और पूरा entrepreneurial छक्का, because as much as I remember, Pankaj, you have not been on the traditional path of an engineer wanting to go for a job or so on. But I'll let you start from the start.
Sanjeev, thanks first of all. Getting back, talking to you like this, just gets me back 30 years when चाय के टपरी पे हो, क्लास में हो या फिर ट्रेन में या स्टेशन पे, we used to just chat like that. See, I think I was plain lucky because I come from a business family where we already had our family business, which was into repairs and test and measurement of instruments, calibration facilities, and all those things. So, in fact, I started working at my office with my parents probably in school. They used to ask me to do soldering and stuff like that. So it was like unknowingly, of course. One more thing which I would like to tell our viewers and listeners: people like me and Sanjeev are absolutely naive. हमको वी आर सो हैप्पी बीइंग इग्नोरेंट बिकॉज वो टाइम हम लोग जो करते थे, हमको 5 पैसा अक्ल नहीं था कि हमको आगे जाके ऐसा करेंगे, अपन वैसा कुछ नहीं. हमको बोला अच्छा ओके करेंगे, इट्स गुड, लेट्स डू इट, एंड that was, I think that taught us a lot. So probably I was never going to work anyway in terms of as a job thing after engineering. It was like you complete your engineering and you join the family business, which I did. And being in the business actually gave me flexibility to do lot of different things that came my way. जो आपने चौका छक्का बताया, वो एक एक करके opportunities मिलती गई. And I did try once or twice to, my father said try करो, देखो, सीखो. तो मैंने वाला छोड़ो यार, जो है वो अपना ही करेंगे. So I've never worked as a job anywhere after my engineering, and I've joined my father's business, which was into electronics, and we continued that, got that further into solar installations for at least 15 years, and because of that now I am into the solar and other skill development projects.
Correct, absolutely. And so that tells me that you getting into instrumentation, or as our professors used to call it, instrumation. इंस्ट्रूमेशन पान खा के आएंगे।
Yeah.
तो इंस्ट्रूमेशन में घुसना आपके लिए लाइक इट वाज अ नॉर्मल स्टेप बिकॉज यू
Yeah.
you have been seeing you've probably grown up amongst them in a way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my father was the one who, so engineering was supposed to be done. I mean, that was, and it's not like, and I always tell this in my other jobs or other profiles that you mentioned, that everyone ना सब अपने को ही गाली देते हैं, क्या सब लोग engineering doctoring कर रहे हैं? अरे हम लोग ने पाप थोड़ी किया, हमको अच्छा लगता था, we were good at it यार, that's why हमने किया है. अब जिनसे नहीं होता है वो आप उनको हमसे कैसे compare कर सकते हैं? So I always say this. In fact, couple of days back in one of the podcasts I said this, क्या आप लोग engineer और doctor को और lawyer को सबको गाली देते हैं? अभी हम लोग थोड़ी क्या पापी, हम लोगों ने भी तो अच्छा कुछ काम किया है ना. So engineering was the aim. My father suggested that you should get into instrumentation because as we both know, it covers a lot of different areas in terms of control, and we learned a lot, and that helped me. So engineering and then instrumentation was the next logical step.
Wonderful, absolutely. So another thing I want to tell our viewers, and like I said, there are 6 roles. So during the podcast, we'll probably uncover each one of them as we progress. But there is another reason why I started the way I started. तो आपने देखा होगा कि पहले इन माय ओन स्टाइल मैंने मिमिक्री कैसा है उसके ऊपर कमेंट मत कीजिए, बट जिस टाइप से मैंने स्टाइल किया वो था एक आरजे का स्टाइल. ऑफ कोर्स अमीन सयानी जी को याद करते हुए इट स्टार्ट्स इन दैट स्टाइल और उसके बाद क्रिकेट कमेंट्री की तरफ जाता है. इसके पीछे भी एक कारण है. आप हमें ये कारण बताएंगे पंकज जी?
Yes. So Sanjeev, after our engineering, मैं सुबह ऑफिस चले गए. Our office was at Lamington Road, so I used to go all the way, stay there the whole day, learn things, and do whatever is being told to me. Wo time, so my wife, I got married in 2001, and my wife introduced me. She's a doctor, by the way. So she introduced me. Once in the evening, we were going around somewhere, and she met one of her batchmates, who's a very well-known radio jockey in Mumbai even today, Dr. Dilip Jain. And we just casually met, and she said, मेरे husband है पंकज, दिलीप वगैरह. मैं क्या करता है? तो बोलते हैं मैं तो of course practice करता हूँ, but I'm also a radio jockey at All India Radio. I said that's fun यार, because during in our growing years, I think all of us were very fond of movies anyways. ऐसा कोई स्पेसिफिकली था नहीं कि अपने को पिक्चर देखना बहुत अच्छा लगता है, सबको अच्छा लगता था. So and I was quite decent in terms of my communication. So he invited me, why don't you come down and see what we do? I said चलो. So I went there with him once and I saw the radio jockey talking. I said अबे ये तो अपन भी कर सकते हैं, उसमें क्या है? तो he said ठीक है, दे audition. This was in late 2001, 2002 early. तो मैं जाके audition दे दिया. Till then I was not very serious in listening to radio as a medium. Of course, technology-wise, we were taught in college and everything that we all know. But फिर मैं बोला यार सुनना पड़ेगा. Then I started listening, and then they called me for an audition. One day I went there and I just gave the audition. They said, "अरे very good, pass." So I said, "अरे अभी तो पास हो गया, अभी तो कुछ करना पड़ेगा." So since 2002 onwards, I started doing radio shows, and I used to do shows once a week. And being in my business, it allowed me to kind of do that. And I'm really grateful because being a radio broadcaster gave me fantastic opportunities to meet the prime ministers, the presidents, and the who's who. And really, it helped me upgrade myself as a person in terms of knowledge and people skills. And when I used to do shows, मेरा एक था कि अपन यार देख, अपन engineer लोग हैं, अपन ज़्यादा gossip करते नहीं हैं, अपन सच्ची सच्ची बात बताते हैं. So I used to talk a lot about science, about engineering, about sports in my shows. And my producers used to listen, and one day they asked me after a couple of shows कि तुला तुला क्रिकेट येता यार? मैं बोला हाँ मेरे को तो आता है, मैं प्रोफेशनली खेलता भी हूँ. बोलते ठीक है शाम को मिलना. तो and see, that's what I'm trying to say. Nowadays people are क्यों, कौन, कैसे, कब, कहाँ, email भेजो, ये करो, वो करो. I think we were very decent in believing anyone and everyone. My producer told me come down to Wankhede Stadium in the evening. I went there after my office. So it was a press conference and he said ये माइक ले और वहाँ पर वीरेंद्र सहवाग बैठा है, उसका 5 मिनट का इंटरव्यू कर. बोला ठीक है. Yeah, so I just interviewed, अरे हाय वीरू ऐसा वैसा. And since we follow cricket, since we play, तो अपने को आइडिया रहता है, उसके लिए होमवर्क करना जरूरी नहीं रहता है. तो उसका इंटरव्यू लिया तो बोलते हैं अरे सही, तो अच्छा करता है. मैं बोला हाँ इसमें कौन सी बड़ी बात है, ये तो आता है हमको. नेक्स्ट वीक ही टुक मी समवेयर, ही इंट्रोड्यूस मी टू लिएंडर पेज, इसका इंटरव्यू कर. तो मैं किया. तो देन ही सेड अरे यार तेरे को तो बहुत इन्फॉर्मेशन है. मैं बोला हाँ अपन तो भाई पढ़ते भी हैं और अपना मतलब है थोड़ा बहुत. तो ही सेड व्हाई डोंट यू डू कमेंट्री. तो मैं बोला ठीक है क्या करने का है. बोलते आई लेट यू नो. So then I also forgot, he also forgot. About a couple of months down the line, after the show he calls me, अरे पंकज ये काम कर दुपारी ना वानखेड़े स्टेडियम लाइए. तो again, no questions asked, no nothing. अच्छा हाँ ठीक है, वी वेंट टू वानखेड़े स्टेडियम, उधर मुंबई और केरला का रणजी मैच चल रहा था, दिस इज मिड 2003, एंड ही सेड ये माइक दे रहा हूँ तेरे को मैं, मैच चल रहा है, वी वर सिटिंग इन द स्टैंड्स, एम्प्टी स्टैंड्स कंप्लीटली, रणजी देखने कोई आता नहीं है, तो एम्प्टी स्टैंड्स में ही सेड अब ये मैच का 15 मिनट तू कमेंट्री कर, मैं रिकॉर्ड करूंगा।
हाँ
तो मैं बोला ठीक है चलो, तो आई स्टार्टेड टक 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 इधर उधर यू नो व्हाटएवर वे आई कुड, एंड ही रिकॉर्डेड एंड ही दे सेंड इट टू दिल्ली एंड दे गॉट स्क्रीन्ड, एंड मेरे को लेटर आया कि तुम पास हो गया करके, मैं बोला अबे ये क्या हो गया। एंड देन इन 2004, अर्ली 2004, I'm asked to go to Dharamshala to cover the match between Pakistan and Board President 11. It was a practice match before that famous 2004 series, and it was the first match of that Dharamshala ground. जो आज हम इतना आईपीएल और इसमें देखते हैं ना, वो पहला मैच था उसका 2004 में, एंड 3 days इट वाज अमेजिंग, अक्टूबर वगैरह महीना होता, ब्रिलियंट, इट टुक मी अबाउट 30 hours टू रीच देयर फ्रॉम दिल्ली, वहां से वहां ऐसे ऐसा करते करते, वो टाइम पे कोई फ्लाइट वाइट कुछ नहीं था, एंड देन वी डिड द कमेंट्री, एंड देन 2004 अर्ली मे बी जैन फेब आई डिड माय फर्स्ट इंटरनेशनल वन-डे मैच, इंडिया वर्सेस श्रीलंका एट बड़ौदा, एंड फ्रॉम देयर the sports broadcasting also sort of started.
This is an amazing story, Pankaj, in terms of, I mean, what this is, and we'll come to this in a bit more depth slowly. But what this kind of teaches me is that how your own passion, which was always there alive in you, and how time has played an important role, where it just kept opening one door after another, after another, after another. So, and I just learned this now, that at the base of all this is something that we have to thank your wife for.
Yes, my parents, my wife, I think they also know that I am their kith and kin, so I'll be as crazy as them. So they knew how crazy they were, and so they allowed me to be as crazy as possible without, you know.
अच्छा, okay. So now you have given me another cue. मैं वैसे भी इस point पे आने ही वाला था, but then now you've given me another cue. तो ये जो आपकी कला है, I mean, ये दर्शकों को तो अब तक समझ में आ ही गया होगा, all the viewers, how fluent he is in terms of how he communicates, his persona. I can assure you this, कि this has more or less been the same during college days as well. Pankaj may feel that I have probably changed. I can assure you that I wasn't like this during college days. It's kind of taken a while by the time I could get to this level. But Pankaj was exactly like this even during college days. So Pankaj, then we have to go back to your childhood. And then your
Yeah.
mom told us कि भाई आपके माता पिता का भी अच्छा वर्णन किया आपने अभी. So we'll have to we'll have to go back to your childhood growing up days, and would love to uncover that and understand how was your childhood like. You always were born and raised in Thane, I believe, or
No. So yeah, I was born in Nasik, but I was raised in Bandra. And see, I'll tell you, all of us are extremely talented, and we are all multi-talented. And a lot of things subconsciously keep on happening around us. Now, in hindsight, I can say that, you know, with you also growing up in Dombivli and other places, whatever has happened, whatever I have seen, does come back. So now, if I can say, for example, see, in school we used to play a lot of things. I was good in studies, I was good in sports, so I played a lot of sports. Now that helped me later on in my career when I got an opportunity to do kabaddi commentary, hockey commentary. I've done international rugby also. I mean, you know, once in a while yes, you know, it happens. I'll tell you, you got to grab your chances. We think a lot, we become too over anxious. And what happens, someone asks you to do that because they're confident that you are bloody good. You will be able to manage it. And that's why they offer you the thing. But do you also reciprocate? So coming back in school, I played almost all the games, which was, you know, primarily cricket was my game. But I was able to play hockey, football, basketball, badminton, various other games. So that helped me, you know, understand. So rules were not a problem. And I didn't know whether it will be useful later on in life or not. Secondly, talking, I remember in my very first standard, and I can still feel it now. I was told that you are going to read a speech in the assembly. संजीव, you know, मुझे असेंबली में खड़ा रहना मतलब ऐसा वाट लगता है. हाँ, एक्चुअल. और वही हुआ था मेरे साथ. एंड ऐसा नहीं कि हम लोग बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट थे, वो पूरा रट के गया था. एंड आई स्टिल रिमेंबर स्टैंडिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ द माइक एज अ किड, एंड आई कैन स्टिल फील माय calves shivering. ऐसा कड़ 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 कड़, एंड मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ, एंड दैट वेंट वेल. सो देन यू रियलाइज कि अरे हाँ, ये एडजस्ट हो सकता है करके. देन स्कूल में आई वाज इनटू लॉट ऑफ एलोक्यूशन कॉम्पिटिशंस एंड स्टफ, एंड माय फादर यूज्ड टू काइंड ऑफ लिसन टू अ लॉट ऑफ हास्य कविता इन हिंदी. We used to listen to Pula Deshpande, Vapu Kale. those days. So, and see, this is how things play. I still remember my father had a huge collection of records, cassettes and video cassettes. त्याच्यामध्ये शोलेच्या 2 कॅसेट्स होत्या पूर्ण पिक्चरच्या डायलॉगच्या.
डायलॉग्स
हाँ, त्यानंतर मिस्टर इंडियाचे होते. सो वी यूज्ड टू लिसन टू दैट और पूरा रट्टा हो जाता था. So I think that gave us a automatic training which we kind of never kind of thought will happen. And growing up in Bandra till 12 o'clock, we used to stay opposite Gaiety Galaxy, and we have seen each and every star of that time, because हर शुक्रवार को वहां पर प्रीमियर होता था और गर्दी होती थी, एंड वी वर लाइक क्लोज बाय. हम लोग ऐसा अमिताभ बच्चन साहब को ऐसा सिल्क कुर्ता में सिल्वर में देखा है, अरे दुनिया भर के हीरोइंस को देखा है. आई स्टिल रिमेंबर 8th स्टैंडर्ड 1991 इफ आई एम नॉट मिस्टेकन, मैं चड्डी पहन के जा रहा किधर शाम को कुछ ऐसा सामान वालों स्टेशनरी से कुछ लेने के लिए, एंड आई सी गेटी गैलेक्सी जेमिनी. इफ यू गो इन इंडिया एंड बैंड्रा एंड मुंबई, यू विल सी दोस थिएटर्स नाउ. अभी वो मॉल बन गया, मल्टीप्लेक्स बन गया अभी वो.
करेक्ट.
तो उधर नीचे शाम के 6:30 पौने 7 की टाइम है ये. सिटिंग में बोला भाई ये कौन है यार, जाके देखा. सो देयर वाज अ गाय हु वाज सिटिंग ईटिंग अ वड़ा पाव एंड ड्रिंकिंग थम्स अप. ही वाज नन अदर, 1991 90s की बात कर रहा हूं मैं, शाहरुख खान.
वाओ.
कैन यू, ये एंड वी आर लाइक अबे ये तो शाहरुख है, बिकॉज़ एंड नोबडी अराउंड. वो किसी के साथ बैठा था इसे 6 to 9 के शो के बीच में, रास्ता पूरा खाली है. वो थिएटर के बाहर सीढ़ियों पे बैठ के, और वो टाइम पे ये जस्ट फिनिश दैट कभी हाँ कभी ना पिक्चर का शूटिंग एट बैंड्रा टर्मिनस व्हिच वाज बीइंग मेड न्यूली. सो ही वाज सिटिंग, अरे बोले शाहरुख, अरे हाय. तो मेरे पास वो फुल स्केप शीट था, तो उसको ऑटोग्राफ भी लिया मैंने. एंड लाइक ठीक है, तू भी शाना मैं भी शाना, चलो, सो देयर वाज नो लाइक वाओ. एंड आई थिंक दोस थिंग्स काइंड ऑफ बिल्ट अप दैट एंटायर base for radio probably, and a base for sports, which probably came useful later on after 5-7 years.
No, this is fascinating, Pankaj. I didn't know all this. So, this is this kind of sets your pace, isn't it? And since you mentioned Shahrukh, I had heard in a couple of his interviews as well that his background is because his dad was a bit more focused towards art, and apparently his dad had a like a tea stall or a chai
No,
samosa.
अच्छा. So this is another thing. They basically ये अच्छा story बना है. Now I can tell you they had a very good chain of restaurants in Delhi, and they were decent and well-to-do, and they are connected to the Dilip Kumar family directly, indirectly. So I mean, anyway, Shahrukh, ठीक है, it's okay.
Fair enough. But what I'm saying is that influence that starts from a young age somehow leaves some impact on you, right? तो वो किस टाइम पे कैसे फूल के आता है वो पता नहीं चलता.
Correct.
But there is that impact that stays in you.
Yeah.
And just to share an incident of ये अपने कॉलेज का टाइम का ही है. आपने जैसे बोला ना कि स्कूल टाइम पे you had your elocutions and you were asked to lead the assembly. मेरे साथ ये स्कूल व्हील में कुछ होता नहीं था because I was extremely shy as a kid.
Okay.
I really could not. I was extremely fearful and scared. College के third year में, which means you were in second year, all these we started getting exposed to slowly all these college fests that used
cultural,
to
all those
cultural
things.
shows and all that. तो तभी पहली बार मैंने सोमैया वाले इसमें अपना नाम डाला. And by the way, my 11th 12th was in Somaya, so I had that little bit of a Somaya connection. उसमें अपना नाम डाला, and I showed up there. फट गई थी मेरी, like in terms of I had sang the song Pag Gunguru, and this was live music in those days, right? Not the karaoke and all. तो live music पे गाना गाना था. अच्छा practice किया था. I'll not deny that. I had practiced quite a lot. वहां पे पहुंचा, I am listening to the singers singing, मस्त गाना गा रहे भाई. Not that they are singing bad, okay? Some of them were bad and some of them were good. The crowd was brutal, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They're like any टमाटर फेंकते फेंकते, बू, चप्पल विप्पल का ये. I was like shit scared, honestly. Like, and then they called my name on stage. मैं बोला यार पहली बार गा रहा हूँ, पता नहीं क्या होने वाला मेरे साथ. And I have literally closed my eyes and sang the entire song. Okay? मेरे को ये हिम्मत भी नहीं था कि मैं crowd की तरफ देखूं कि क्या होने वाला है. But I tell you, maybe how I had practiced or whatever the God's blessing that day, the song came out so well that I could kind of feel throughout the song that the audience is actually cheering, yelling and all that.
Yes.
बाद में मैं निकल गया. ओके भाई अपना तो कुछ जमने वाला है नहीं इधर करके मैं निकल गया सीधा वहां से. बाद में 2 दिन बाद कोई तो ढूंढते हुए आता है, बोलता है संजीव तेरे को सेकंड प्राइज मिला है, ये प्राइज.
No, but let me tell you, friends, listeners, Sanjeev is a very fantastic singer, and I have seen him singing this song at our college fest every year, 2-3 years, and he's brilliant. अभी उसको देख के फिर हम लोग को भी थोड़ा सा जोश चढ़ा. Me and one of my partner Elvin used to sing the song.
Elvin.
So yeah, so I mean, I'll tell you, and you are a very good singer, यार. I'm definitely sure. Of late, ये सब बाथरूम में करते करते आप become a karaoke singer also now. भाई confidence बढ़ गया है.
नहीं, ऐसी आई वॉज कमिंग टू दैट पॉइंट के मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है कि आपका जो अपने बल्ला घुमा के जो छक्का मारा है ना, वो
जी.
छक्का नहीं, एक्चुअली 8 या 10 होना चाहिए. Because there are two additional things you used to do. So for our viewers, I would like to say that he was obviously very good in all these things when he was in school, college also. So we would hear him talk very eloquently. He was absolutely on the sporting front. He would always be up there. तो ये सब तो होता ही था. जब भी अवार्ड्स निकलते थे तो इनके टीम को या पंकज को कुछ ना कुछ मिलता ही रहता था. But there were two other things he did very well there, and I would love to see that that gets into his the list of entrepreneurial things that he's doing. So first is singing. He said that himself. Thank you for giving me the credit कि भाई मेरे वजह से कुछ तुमको मिला. I don't believe.
अरे नहीं भाई, मैं तेरे से गवाऊंगा, रुक ना, अभी तो पूरा करिए.
But there was another thing we used to do. तो गाने का तो एक करियर आपका स्टार्ट होना है. Okay, that has to get added.
Okay.
और दूसरा हम लोग करते थे मॉडलिंग. याद है?
ये वो नहीं हुआ मेरे से रे, वो मैं अपना नहीं जमा वो. And modeling, yes, वो fashion show. अच्छा, let me tell you friends, this is just imagine 1995-99. हम लोग येड़े, टोटल गॉन केसेस, कुछ 5 पैसा अक्कल नहीं हम लोग को मॉडलिंग कैसे करने का. अच्छा, एरोली दैट टाइम वाज अ जंगल. वी कुडंट इवन अफोर्ड टू गेट अ कोरियोग्राफर या जो भी रहता है वो. हमको कुछ अक्कल नहीं, हम लोग ने बोला चल आपस में कुछ करते हैं, एंड वी वर अट्रोशियस इन आर पोजेस. कुछ समझ में नहीं आता था. सो प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड कि आज के टाइम का नहीं, ये 30-35 साल पुरानी बात है कि कुछ नहीं होते भी और कुछ गाना लगाया, एंड द ड्रेसिंग सेंस वाज absolutely gone case, and we used to do all these things. But ये मॉडलिंग नहीं जमा रहे. मैं बहुत एक आध बार ट्राई किया, लेकिन अपने से होता नहीं.
अरे होएगा तो कभी होएगा. But just to close on that point, I remember यार उनका भी how can I forget this यार. She was one of the best looking girls of the senior batch में. अपने से 2 साल senior थी.
मालूम है?
हाँ,
मालूम है मेरे को, याद है, भावना.
yes, सही बोला आपने. तो she had actually done the choreography. बैंड्रा गर्ल थी वो, I remember very clearly. तो she was all into like, उसको पता था, वो दिखती भी मॉडल ही थी यार कसम से. तो भावना, if you're listening, sorry but
अच्छा दोस्तों, आपको एक और पॉइंट बताता हूँ. प्लीज ट्राई एंड अंडरस्टैंड मी एंड संजीव राइट नाउ. यू कैन सी द नेचुरल ब्लश. हम लोग जानबूझ के नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम लोग ब्लश कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज 30 years back the sex ratio of our engineering college, and even today वैसे ही है, but our college was so bad that there were a total about 6 or 7 girls students in the whole of the 3-4 years मिला के. हाँ, तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि हम लोग कितने शर्मीले और कितने मतलब कितने कैसे थे, जो भी है वो.
Absolutely. I think सबके कॉलेज दिन आपको याद आते होंगे how it was. अगर कोई
हमारे स्पेशल थे
बात करने जा रहा है, तो उसके बाद जो उसकी रैगिंग होनी है. And to be honest यार, मैं सॉरी डाइग्रेस हो रहा हूँ, बट जब रैगिंग होता था तो ये बेचारी ये लड़कियां हमको संभाल लेती थी यार, ऑनेस्टली.
मेरे को किसी ने संभाला नहीं. लेकिन
क्या बात कर रहे, तेरा फुल ऑन रैगिंग हुआ? फिर
मेरा रैगिंग भी नहीं हुआ, मैंने दिमाग चलाया था. क्योंकि तेरे बैच में ना एक अपना दोस्त था मैकेनिकल वाला, महेश जबड़े करके, तो मेरे बाजू वाले बिल्डिंग में रहता था. तो मैया उसको हम लोग बोलते थे. तो मैं पहले दिन से उसके साथ ही आ रहा था, तो फिर मेरे को किसी ने रैगिंग नहीं किया.
देखिए दोस्तों, यानी व्हाट आई वांट टू टेल यू इज कि बचपन से ही ये शाना है, एंड ये बचपन वाले शानेपन के वजह से ही इज. एंड फॉर आवर व्यूअर्स, बाय द वे, आई एम सॉरी, दिस इज गोइंग टू बी अ वेरी not even a Hinglish, it is going to be a Hindish show, because we're moving to a Hindi and a Marathi too much than a English. But बचपन से ही ये शाना है. शाना means smart, intelligent, street smart, right? तो ये बचपन से ही शाना है, जिसके वजह से ये आज तक ऐसे प्रोग्रेस कर रहा है और आगे भी करता रहेगा 100%. तो यार थोड़ा डाइग्रेस हो गए थे. बट
अरे अच्छा, बिफोर द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन प्लीज, वो एक शुरुआत कर दे गाने की. आई वांट द वर्ल्ड टू लिसन टू यू. अरे जरा करके
क्या बात कर रहा है यार, सीरियसली?
अरे होगा. चल मैं तेरा साथ देता हूँ.
अरे हे बुजुर्गों ने बुजुर्गों ने फरमाया के पैरों पे अपने खड़े होके दिखलाओ, फिर ये जमाना तुम्हारा है।
टडडंग।
हाँ, ये वेट कर रहा था। जमाने के सुर ताल के साथ चलते चले जाओ, फिर हर फसाना तुम्हारा, जमाना तुम्हारा है।
टडडंग।
अरे तो लो भैया, हम अपने पैरों के ऊपर खड़े हो गए और मिला ली है ताल।
टडडंग।
दबा लेगा दांतों तले उंगलियां, अलियां,
लिया।
ये जहां देख कर अपनी
अपनी
चाल।
चाल।
वाह,
वाह भैया।
धन्यवाद। चलिए भाई,
अरे,
इसी पे रुकाते हैं, बहुत ज्यादा फ्लो हो रहा है ये।
अरे वंडरफुल, यू सिंग वेल यार।
अरे कोशिश करते हैं यार, जैसे आपने कहा ना बाथरूम सिंगर, मेरा एक ध्येय है। अभी क्या है कि देख भाई, बाथरूम सिंगर तो मैं अभी भी हूँ, बस
ठीक
ये
है।
दुनिया को अपना बाथरूम बना लिया हूँ।
ठीक है, जैसे बाथरूम में होते हो वैसे मत आना,
हाँ
गाना सिर्फ बाहर लेकर आना।
हाँ, गाना सिर्फ बाहर लेके आते हैं, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, हम एकदम शरीफ है उस सेंस में।
जी जी जी।
हाँ, तो यार
हाँ।
आई मीन पूरे ही अलग डायरेक्शन में चले गए यार, मजा आ गया बात करके ये। कॉलेज के दिनों की यादें तो ऐसी ही होती है। तो बट आपके बचपन के ऊपर आई स्टिल वांट टू स्टिक अ बिट मोर, क्योंकि आपने एक और पहलू इंट्रोड्यूस किया था, वो आपने बोला नहीं। बट फर्स्ट थिंग्स फर्स्ट, आई वांट टू आस्क यू, हाउ आई मीन यू हैव सिबलिंग्स एंड हाउ वाज इट, आई मीन डू यू हैव अ
Yeah. So I had a younger sister, my mom, dad, so four of us, we used to stay. My grandfather, grandmother used to stay with us. It was always a kind of a family thing. And that even so that, for example, even now we still are a joint family. We're a big family. My in-laws, my parents, my children. So and that family business kind of thing automatically keeps on evolving in through that.
So you mean when you say family business, your father was also in business with like his siblings or some family
No,
member?
no, no. So he was really I mean, I really admire my father because while working, he kind of started a business with my mom and my mama getting into it, supporting. So we had a very good shop at a place at Lamington Road, and we used to do a lot of repairs. So he's worked extremely hard. I mean, all
Hmm.
our fathers, our earlier generation, really, we don't give them that kind of credit, but they have screwed their backside very badly just to get us to good position, and you learn from them.
Hmm.
So he was into business, and then he took a VRS from railways, got into the business full fledged, got me, and so it's always been a very family affair.
Hmm. So absolutely, man. I mean, I was meaning to ask you, but probably I'm getting a sense here. So I realized the name of the business was it Trimurti business?
Yeah,
Was
it's still Trimurti. Yeah.
so the
So
Trimurtis are your mom, your mama, and your dad.
no, so initially my father started his business with a couple of partners. That's why the three guys. That's why Trimurti. But then they quit very early. But my father continued with the name, and I still continue with that brand. So we still have our company, not so in the solar things, in the content, other things, and so Trimurti is still the brand that we continue.
Alright, that is wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. So that explains, and thanks to the three Murtis, your father's partners, or your father, mama, and your mom, that this is really taken good shape. And kudos to you that you're taking it forward as well. तो
Yeah.
तो इसको फिर से we'll bring this back on track with what Pankaj was telling us. So Pankaj, there is obviously a lot more that we have to talk, but I want to spend a bit more time on your sports broadcasting. I know that a lot of these things might have probably come naturally to you in terms of how you did it. But walk us through the journey of how does one kind of prepare oneself for this? Because I'll tell you personally, what I feel is that when you're actually going live for something, ना, वहां पे आपको चुकने का कोई चांस ही नहीं है. एंड आप ज्यादा प्रिपेयर भी नहीं कर सकते बियॉन्ड अ पॉइंट. इट इज समथिंग दैट यू रियली नीड टू नो विद इन योर सेल्फ, एंड यू प्रॉब्ली नीड टू नो हाउ टू ब्रिंग द राइट थिंग एट द राइट टाइम. थोड़े होने चाहिए. तो इसके
Correct.
बारे में कुछ बताइए. I'm sure like you went in with a certain amount of talent, but you would have honed it more, you would have learned more, your experiences.
Yeah, you're right. See what happens is, and our listeners and viewers listening should view this 30 years back, and then I'll get you to what's happening now. Because now the entire concept of sports broadcasting has changed a bit with the digital mediums and everything coming up, and a lot of mixing getting into it. But I primarily did not have a problem talking to people. Not that I was very extrovert and जाके, but I had a very comfort level. किसी से भी बात करना तो कोई ऐसा problem नहीं था. Secondly, I always like to learn things from people. My observation. I always wanted to. So even while my playing days, I made a lot of friends with the umpire, standing as a runner at the non-striker. Or I have made a lot of friends when I used to play for our college with the wicket keepers of the opposition team, because they behind used to कचर 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 कर रहा है, अपन भी बात कर रहे हैं, तो उसके स्लेजिंग का अपने ऊपर फर्क नहीं पड़ा, अपन अच्छा खेले, he appreciates, I appreciate, the guy standing at forward shot ले गाली दे रहा है और अपन ने मस्त खेल लिया, क्या बराबर देखा ना, and then you bond, so
Yeah.
I had never had a problem with that. So there, that was one thing. Secondly, I had the knack of kind of a bit of observation of very small things, because again, when you listen to someone like a Vapu Kale or a Pula Deshpande and you grow up with a sense of humor, you kind of tend to pick up good things. For example, the banter between the two of us, I mean, we have not planned it. Viewers, we have not even rehearsed it. It's just coming, straight away as it is. So the point here is that decoration of words, usage of words, that was the whole thing that was there as my background. And when I thought, just like engineering, you apply, okay, यहाँ क्या करना है, chalo, let's make it entertaining. Because then I realized, when I did the commentary for the first couple of times, I realized that I'm not the celeb. I'm just the medium. I'm just the postman getting the action to the people. So how can I get it done? So that's how I started using it, reading a lot, improving on my language skills, improving. And fortunately, I had that flow where I could chronologically get all the events, tuck, 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 and present it. So because it's all engineering that we have done, we have a flow chart, we have points to remember. So अभी कुछ हो रहा है, so someone hits a big shot, वो high up in the air, someone is coming to kind of cover it up, वहाँ 2-3 run बन रहा है, so pandemonium in the crowd, multiple levels of observations, multiple levels of inputs, and then you get a product, and it worked. So I
this
just,
is,
yeah.
मुझे अपनी इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन अभी भी बोलनी पड़ेगी
तू
ठीक से।
पनवा नहीं खा रहा है, तू ऐसा कैसे कर रहा है?
अरे पानवा खाकर तो हम कुछ और ही बोलेंगे ना, वहां पर तो बोला भी नहीं जाता भाई। इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन।
हाँ, एक मिनट रुक जा, बीवी का फोन आ रहा है जरा, उसको
हाँ।
बोलता हूँ, नहीं तो घर नहीं जाएगा, तेरे चक्कर में मेरा हुक्का पानी बंद हो जाएगा। ये काटना नहीं है, ये चलने देना।
अरे ऑब्वियसली यार, मजा आएगा। यही तो क्लिप्स में जाएगा, तभी तो मजा आएगा। हाँ,
तो ये ऐसा था।
तो मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि यूजिंग आवर इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स, हाउ डू यू मेजर हाउ यू आर डूइंग in your own? I mean, there is of course what you are measuring yourself. There is a self assessment, and then there is something that either your team or your manager or whoever is assessing. So how does the measuring happen, and then how do you calibrate yourself, and how cutthroat is this world, ये भी बताना जरा। यानी आप चूक गए तो आपको फिर से मौके मिलते हैं कि लाइक गया तो गया?
So those days, radio and television, you utter a wrong word and you're gone. So the first thing is, you got to be very, I mean, you cannot get, and one good thing with us was, Sanjeev, is that we being engineers are always logical. तो वो एक फायदा होता है, because we are not fans. हम अच्छा पर्सनल लेवल पे हमको कोई भी अच्छा लगता होगा, but on air we are never fans of anyone. That helped us a lot, because क्या होता है, if you are a fan and India is doing badly, then you kind of emote something which you are actually not supposed to tell people. So that helped me, and I was very clear. So just like engineering, we were taught that there's always a feed forward and a feedback loop. So I always used to kind of prepare कि अपन ये ऐसा roughly करेंगे. And fortunately, again, being an engineer, the equipment did not create a problem with us. ये तो एकदम मस्त है यार, ये तो. And I actually have made a lot of friends with the engineering department who used to set up the entire thing. So they used to support me and they used to help me, and that made my job much more easier. The score sheets, the monitor, the what's coming in my ear, the instructions, everything was very simple. So that helped me further on. And I always believed in teamwork, because क्या होता है, cutthroat competition कल भी था, आज भी है और कल भी रहेगा, बहुत बेकार. So I have had instances when senior commentators have tried to rag me on air during a match. So they try and
Who do they
kind
do
of,
that?
lot of them, अभी जो है अभी आज भी कुछ है, बाकी सब चले गए, but they do that. That's okay. And I thought आने दे, देखते हैं अपन क्या होता है. एंड आई वाज लकी कि जो जो उन्होंने मेरे को यॉर्कर डाला, बाउंसर डाला, आई वाज एबल टू हैंडल इट. So they do it, you know. So for example, बात करते करते they'll suddenly ask you something out of the blue, which they know that, and they think that you don't know. They'll ask you some rule. They'll ask you that stat. So people are like that. अभी क्या करें? But normally what I do is, because being a normal friendly person, मैं पहले से ही सेटिंग कर लेता हूँ कि ताकि सामने वाला अपने साथ ये सब कर ही नहीं पाए. भाई आप तो महान हैं, आप तो अंतर्यामी हैं, आप तो ज्ञानी हैं, आप तो मतलब महापुरुष है.
अब पुरुष ही नहीं हो, महापुरुष है, महापुरुष
महापुरुष है,
महापुरुष महापुरुष बिल्कुल.
तो गोलमाल वाले अमोल पालेकर की तरह मैं सर ऐसा करके.
क्या बात है यार, दिस वाज वेरी गुड. थोड़ा और आगे डायलॉग बोलाओ अमोल पालेकर जी के स्टाइल.
सर क्या कहते हैं, कुर्ता तो शरीर के ऊपरार्ध की लज्जा निवारण के लिए होता है. अगर हम 6 इंच भी अपना कुर्ता छोटा कर ले तो देश की वस्त्र समस्या तो ऐसे ही दूर हो जाएगी.
वाह, तो कितने उच्च विचार है आपके, कितने उच्च विचार. सर अरे यार मजा आ गया यार.
So this has happened. So but then I used to kind of get, so I remember 2008 I was doing the Commonwealth Youth Games in Pune, non-cricket event, big event, and my fellow commentator, so someone who was supposed to do didn't come, and my producer said, भाई please करो आप, but be careful, you are the first time कर रहे हो, ऐसा नहीं वैसा नहीं. मैं बोला हाँ ठीक है चल देख लूंगा मैं. तो मैं चुप बैठा था. तो my senior commentator in Hindi, he was going around, you know, telling me, Pankaj, you know, this is really very difficult, you have come here, you're playing with fire, आप चुप बैठ, ज्यादा बोलना नहीं, ये नहीं करना, वो नहीं करना. मैं बोला अंकल जो आप बोले हो मैं तो बोलूंगा ही नहीं, आपको जो करना है करो, कोई टेंशन नहीं, मेरे को मालूम है. He started ऐसा वैसा ये वो 5 minutes I kept quiet, I kept smiling, I'm sitting in the commentary box, things are happening. 7 minutes he's talking, 9 minutes he's talking. हाँ अंकल बोलो, आप बोलो, मेरे को तो उतना पैसा मिलने वाला है, मेरे को क्या फर्क पड़ता है, नहीं बोलूंगा तो भी. Talking 12th minute he looked at me and then I said हो गया. Then I took over. मैं बोला अभी मैं बात करूँगा. And but then I made sure that I interacted with him so much, and then he said, अरे Pankaj यार, you prepared really very well. I'm very proud of you. Very good, very good. मैं बोला हाँ यार ठीक है. So there have been cases, but fortunately अब तक कोई ऐसा drastic problem नहीं हुआ है on air. Though off air तो a lot of people play games, and I mean ठीक है अभी क्या करें.
Absolutely. But I'll go back to that question again. Sorry, Pankaj. I'm just trying to understand कि in this kind of a world, what is the measure? How are you measured? Are you doing well or not? Is there a certain viewership feedback that comes, or does it go up and down because you're commentating, or how do you measure and how do you calibrate?
See, generally the outcome is determined by the producers and the channel that you work for. And if they feel that, and I think, you know, Sanjeev, आपका काम देख के वो समझ में आता है कि यार these guys are good. So वो प्रॉब्लम होता नहीं है. Then there are finer refinements की आप ऐसा करो वैसा करो ये वो. But generally, so the producers they give you the feedback, very good, पंकज जी अच्छा था. And being proactive, I did so many things that compensate for certain other things. See, what happens is when you compensate and do something good for everyone, nobody complains, even if you're bad or even if you're slightly thoda idhar udhar. But I didn't have a problem, though a lot of my fellow commentators started saying that he speaks too fast, he smiles when he's talking, you should be serious, वो हंसी मजाक करता है commentary में. तो मैं बोला अभी ठीक है. So these are guys, again, please imagine this is early 2004-2005. My first commentary I was told कि बिना टाई पहने मत जाना.
Okay.
तो मैं बोला क्यों, बोलते तुम इंग्लिश कमेंटेटर हो. तो मैं बोला ठीक है होगा. तो मैं पहन के गया. बट I was in Baroda some March April, India versus Sri Lanka. अरे पसीने से पानी हो गया आदमी यार. तो मैं बोला अभी छोड़ जाने दे. तो अच्छा, then there was a time where people used to carry a lot of books and a lot of material as homework for all of you. तो I also like अच्छा ये भी करना पड़ेगा करके I used to also carry. तो मैं बोला ये देखने का टाइम ही नहीं मिलता यार, because you stick to the game and it's bang. Then I didn't even wear a tie in my commentary life anytime. मैंने कभी so I don't carry anything.
But why, in the sense, are you on, this is all India radio, so you're not on video in any sense, right? Is it just
even if you're
certificate or?
It was a style, be it television or radio. Because you are in commentary, you're supposed to be formal, you're supposed to be well dressed. That was the norm which पहले से चला आ रहा था. And the others must have been doing it. तो मैंने भी एक दो बार किया लेकिन मेरे को मजा नहीं आया. तो मैं बोला जाने दे यार, छोड़ो. So I think people, the producers, the fellow commentators, the other people, the staff around, and the channel generally is able to give you a very immediate input and on the performance, and of course then people also start writing about you, good things about you. There are things are there which you might not know, which I come to know now.
Correct.
Just a quick example. People will think ये कितना बोलता है, but ये मेरा धंधा है, इसके लिए ऐसा है. But I was on a show a couple of days back where I was being interviewed on a live web radio, and they had announced that I'll be there. So there, like web radio पे live चल रहा है, on my I'm on call. People are there on WhatsApp, on Twitter, and everything, and they are asking questions. I was able to talk to a couple of guys who they connected, and they were able to tell me exactly what I'd done in 2005 in this particular match. They told me 2017, Pankaj, I heard you in this match. ऐसा ऐसा आपने उधर बोला था. I heard you in 2014 in that England series and you did this. I heard you last year in that Brisbane match. उसमें तुमने ऐसा किया था. And I said, what? So even in today's age, I think any platform, be it print, radio, or new age, has a very big impact on people.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Wow, amazing, Pankaj. Your journey and your stories are so fascinating. कुछ और सुनने की इच्छा हो रही है इसी डायरेक्शन में. But before I go there, I'll come to one point that I wanted to clarify. English commentary का तो you told that you started that way, but I believe now you have kind of diversified, right? You speak,
Yes.
you commentate in other languages as well.
I do it in English, Hindi, Marathi, तीनों.
Tino. Okay. And what is the, obviously Marathi means Marathi, right? So that is an enclosed region. But I'm hearing that especially Hindi commentary is kind of becoming a bit niche also and has a much wider and broader acceptance as well. But one thing to understand, and this is coming out of complete ignorance, so apologies. But if you're, let's say, speaking for All India Radio, does it mean that commentary is only for All India Radio, or can that be used by other channels, or maybe some other TV channel kind of uses that as a commentary?
No.
Things possible?
No. So if you're doing it for that, it's exclusive because they have bought the rights for it. So you can't use that content anywhere. And see, I used to do my radio shows in Hindi and do my cricket commentary in English. And Hindi was always there. But so later on, I started doing a lot of commentary in Hindi also. Because I'm decent in both the languages. 2007, I was asked to do Marathi commentary of the 2007 World Cup, Cricket World Cup. So there I had to work a bit harder because, see, Marathi is my mother tongue. But my broadcastable Marathi still needs to work. So I can speak Marathi very fluently, no problem. But broadcastable just so I had to work on that, and I did that. So then, and what happens is,
Bookish Marathi लागतं रे त्याला, म्हणजे you have to be like very proper in your Marathi and all that.
Which is sad, but it's okay. But I mean, I don't really complain because अभी सबका अपना अपना रहता है, ठीक है. So English, Hindi, and Marathi I used to do. So, then what happens is I as a radio person, I was not knowing anything. Neither I was interested in voiceovers. But people started, you're in radio, would you do voiceover? मैं बोला पैसा देगा क्या? बोलता हाँ देगा ना. तो फिर वो कर लिया. So then I realized that a lot of this offline recording takes place in multi languages.
And so when you say voiceover, what do you mean? Voiceover of the commentary only?
No. Television shows, radio ads, TVCs, IVR, anything and everything. Documentaries, movies. They need voiceovers for anything and everything.
You have done all this?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because people are, तुम radio में हो, मतलब हाँ ये करने का. Because then people also start recommending you. अरे he's good in English, Hindi, and people look for multilingual people because क्या रहता है कि once you get a project, you have to do the same video in 8 or 10 different languages. So you are not going to call 8-10 people. You will call 4 or 5 people who are good in. तुम्हारा भी पैसा बचता है, मेरा भी पैसा बचता है.
कर दो सब कुछ. Correct.
Yeah. So that helped me continue stuff in English, Hindi as well as Marathi. I've done a lot of ads. I've done a lot of television ads. Theater में ads चलता है कभी-कभी. Documentaries, award-winning documentaries.
But when you say you have done all these ads, what does it mean? You're a voiceover of it, or you're
voiceover.
Voiceover of it. And who have you done the voiceover for? Any
a lot of people. I mean, television channels, films divisions, HDFC. I mean, you name the brand. बहुत किया. I don't even keep a track. Suhana Masala, my ad still keeps on going on Marathi television. Lot of these award functions and stuff like that. So, I mean, because being in business gave that flexibility to do all these things.
यार पंकज, एक बार हमारे दर्शकों के लिए तीनों लैंग्वेज में थोड़ा कमेंट्री करके दे दो ना. It will be fun to listen.
So I used to do a lot of
इसके पैसे नहीं मिलेंगे.
नहीं वो ठीक है अभी क्या तेरे से क्या मांगू मैं अभी तू देगा भी नहीं वो अलग बात है
हाँ करेक्ट. जानता है मेरे को तू सीनियर से पैसा मांगता है साले.
अभी काय का सीनियर भाड़ में गई तेरी दोस्ती भाड़ में गया तेरा प्यार बस अमर प्रेम
अमर प्रेम
Yes.
पवित्र और भक्ति रस से भरपूर.
सवाल एक जवाब दो
जवाब दो.
See guys, please don't mind because we are basically crazy guys and from the 90s just a trigger takes us to a different direction
Different
altogether.
zone. Yeah, and I'm sure my wife will be listening to this will be like ये अकेला पागल सा लगता है इसके क्लास में सारे ही पागल है.
हाँ मतलब वो भी है सॉरी मैडम सॉरी वहीनी but I mean see in English normally like you're going so chalo like India versus England that 1 electrifying atmosphere the first over is about to begin. India won the toss, decided to bowl first. Sachin Tendulkar on strike. Is going to be Andrew Flintoff, first ball short of length over the point boundary for a humongous six. Sachin Tendulkar starts with a bang and India six without the loss of any wicket. What a start. The crowd has gone berserk here at the Wankhede Stadium. I mean you go like this. I'm just सेम इन हिंदी बेहतरीन और यहाँ पर एंड्रू फ्लिंटॉफ गेंदबाजी करने के लिए तैयार शॉट ऑफ लेंथ गेंद थी उसको कट कर दिया है थर्ड मैन की तरफ सचिन तेंदुलकर ने बेहतरीन स्ट्रोक लगाया बिल्कुल बल्ले के बीचों बीच से गेंद आई और चौका मिलता हुआ बैकवर्ड पॉइंट की तरफ और इस तरीके से भारत ने बेहतरीन शुरुआत कर ली है देखना होगा कि क्या यही मोमेंटम वो लगातार बरकरार रख पाएंगे या नहीं एंड देन यू काइंड ऑफ गो दिस इज द सेम फॉर हॉकी आई डू लॉट ऑफ इंटरनेशनल हॉकी मैचेस नाउ आई डू प्रो कबड्डी सो यू जस्ट अमालगमेट एवरीथिंग आउट हियर एंड मराठीमध्ये अगेन इट हॅज टू बी व्हेरी व्हेरी नाईस आखूट टप्प्याचा चेंडू होता आणि तेंडुलकरने पूल केलेला आहे मिड विकेटच्या वर अतिशय उत्कृष्ट षटकार आणि भारताची धावसंख्या पुढे जाते खेळपट्टी जी आहे ऐसा वो यूज करना पडता
अरे इथेच तर कळत नाही बाबा चेंडू कधी बोललेलो आपण चेंडू
बट डू यू रिअलाइज over the period of time now I'll just quickly take you from 2004 to 2020 a lot has changed in terms of linguistic skills. People no longer bother for good language. It's a major problem. अब क्या करें अब पब्लिक को अच्छी शब्दावली की आवश्यकता नहीं है बिकॉज पब्लिक जनरली बेवकूफ बनती जा रही है सॉरी मतलब अभी है तो है भी क्या करूं मैं लेकिन so now you'll have grammatical errors which is acceptable now which is okay and lot of so my producer used to tell us now last couple of years की तुम्ही चेंडू का म्हणता लोकांना कळत नाही म्हटलं मूर्खा तुला कळत नाही सगळ्यांना बाकीच्यांना कळतं so there is a major problem in the understanding of consumer from the channels
correct
and what the consumer wants is not really taken into consideration
and it's a target audience right I don't know the facts or the numbers you probably understand better but my guess would be like this is not for the people in Mumbai for example right this would be probably for people who are in some talukas or villages
अरे बट उनको चेंडू समझेगा ना उनको बॉल थोड़ी समझेगा
exactly
ये मेरे को बोल रहा है कि चेंडू मत बोला मैं बोला उधर चेंडू ही बोलते हैं
what else will you say right
तो ये बहुत प्रॉब्लम है because the and what is happening is the people who are now in the show many of them actually don't know the senior guys probably know but I'm not blaming them see don't take me negatively but उनको पता नहीं है for example I am told during pro kabaddi that why are you getting so much technical into the game people don't understand the game मैं बोला क्या so I'm trying to tell them they're telling me keep it plain simple and what has happened again you have to realize that today because of the digital platforms we have two type of consumers in the market one is like you and me who understand the game अपने को समझ में आता है कि मोहम्मद शमी अभी राउंड विकेट आ रहा है बेन स्टोक्स को मतलब ये उसको फंसाएगा अब ये बाहर डालेगा फिर ये अंदर लाएगा बेन स्टोक्स उसको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कुछ और अभी देख अंदर लाएगा डांडा निकालेगा और वो क्लीन बोल्ड हो जाता है सो वी एंटिसिपेट दैट अ बिट but the capitalists are not interested in us because we don't spend money for this consumption they are interested in people who don't understand the game but want entertainment out of it and I am ready to pay for it and that's the reason why this whole entertainment and this and blah 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 because they are not interested in people who understand cricket they are interested in people who will spend on that game whether you understand the game or not You'll not believe 95% of the people coming at stadiums in India, probably it might be different in Australia, 95% of the people who come to watch the game do not understand cricket.
Uh, Somewhat similar here as well.
Yeah, so they come there for the tam jam. They don't even know who's there at the toss. They're not interested who's in the team. They're
Correct.
there for enjoyment, and there's nothing wrong in it, because they have the money.
Hmm.
So the entire target audience is this,
But
and not us.
interesting that you mentioned that. So see, there is a difference between the audience that is there at the match, क्योंकि उनको तो कोई commentary है नहीं. They're not listening to anything, right? The commentary is for the folks who are actually not there or who are viewing it over television. चलो, as you mentioned, television
Correct.
commentary अलग, commentators अलग. So if your target audience is All India Radio, where people are only listening to you but not watching you, then that means you have to actually explain the scenario to them, right? I mean,
Correct. So
you have to
when I'm
create that
on,
visual atmosphere.
that's why it is called as running commentary on radio and normal commentary on television. So when I'm on television, I don't talk so much.
Oh, you do television commentary as well?
Yeah, I've done television also, but not. I do enjoy radio a bit more, but I've done television also, but not too much, because again, radio gives much more pleasure and a lot of thrill. So that is running commentary. In fact, you will not believe US Open is going on right now. Just go to the website and you can listen to the audio commentary of all top matches on US Open website,
And
even for the Australian Open.
And that's coming from you? Or?
No, from them. What I'm saying is audio commentary is still prevalent.
Right. I see what you're saying. Correct. But I believe you are doing something for the tennis also, isn't it?
Yeah, we are looking forward. So I do. Not live. We are trying to figure out how we can kind of do stuff for tennis and other games, because hockey we are doing regularly. It's very, very popular. Football, of course, I don't do too much, but other games we are trying to figure out how they can be kind of brought more in terms of the broadcasting thing.
So before I move to the next point, because we have just covered 2, we still have 4 more. But I want to ask you. You mentioned Viru. That was the very first one that started for you. Just share some examples now of others who you interacted with, and what has kind of been your moment like that. Were you starstruck when you saw them, or how was it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm also human. तो वो होता है अपने को देख के अरे यार ये तो solid है तो ये होता है. But then fortunately being engineers ना, I again come to the point, we are maybe level headed or below that also. अपन गरीब लोग हैं तो अपने को ज़्यादा ये नहीं होता है कि you don't flow into your emotions a lot. You don't get caught up in your emotions as an engineer, and you don't flow. So for example, I interviewed Shane Warne. I mean, fantastic guy. The late Shane Warne, brilliant, and all of them. And what I've realized is when we normally talk to them, we talk sense. Even when I've interviewed a lot of Indian Bollywood, Hollywood actors, singers, they are genuine people. एकदम simple लोग रहते हैं. And if you tell them, for example, with Shah Rukh Khan, I told him कि यार याद है तुमको? अरे यार, then they go into a different zone, tell you stories. सलमान खान something, अरे वो आपने ना वो पत्थर के फूल में वो एक सीन था, उसमें स्कूल आपका कॉलेज दिखाया था. बोलते हाँ वो मेरा स्कूल था बैंड्रा में. अरे क्या बात कर रहा है? Then they tell you वो सीन में हमारा ऐसा हुआ था वैसा हुआ था. So with cricketers also, they are very normal people, and you talk sense to them, they go berserk with so many undocumented stories, which is, again, I'm selfish because I want those stories from them. I'll use it somewhere else. Correct. So when I interviewed Sachin a few years back at MIG, so everyone calls him master. Sachinला तू कुठे असं भेटलास ना, तो you don't call him sir Sachin वगैरे, you call him master. His people also will call him, अरे master इधर या ना, इकडे आना, master इकडे असं आहे, master you have to do that, असं म्हणतात.
Because of the master blaster.
Yeah. So त्याला master म्हणून संबोधित करतात, त्याची टीम किंवा कोणी असेल ते. So I was supposed to interview him for about 10 odd minutes or something. That's available on Facebook. You can go and check it. And when we were in the position, I said, Master, एक request है. ना मी तुम्हाला सचिन म्हणेन in the interview, please. अरे पंकज, no problem यार, पक्का सचिनच म्हण मला, मास्टर नको म्हणू. So I started talking, he started answering, I started asking him questions, because in my radio days I've interviewed his coach, his school people, his other players. So with that reference I started asking him, he went into different zone, he started giving me more stories. 25 minutes, 30 minutes वो प्रोड्यूसर उधर चिल्ला रहा है पीछे से बंद कर मतलब मैं क्या करूँ, वो बात कर रहा है उसको रोक. So it went on for almost 40-45 minutes. Those guys are, अरे he has other things. मैं बोला अरे मी काय करणार, त्याला सांग बोला ना,
त्यांना बोलायचं आहे.
मैं क्या करूँ अभी बोलो. तो and that's how you as a broadcaster get the best out of these celebs. I was interviewing Vishwanathan Anand. And I asked him, ki nowadays everyone is on computer. When you started, there was no computer. Then how was that migration thing? He said, "Arey Pankaj, we had such a big problem because we didn't even know how to operate a computer. For 1 year, his performance was slightly down because he didn't know how to use it, and others were using it and getting it. So they said went through that, understood that, and now we kind of are much better. So a lot of interesting anecdotes come out of these people when you meet them and when you interview them.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I don't want this to stop. But dear friends, what we are going to do right now is we are going to take a bit of a break. We'll take a break and don't go anywhere because we'll come back again in our next episode where we'll continue with the journey beyond this. Remember, we have still covered only दो रन ही मारे हैं हमने. छक्का पूरा करना है अभी. So we'll come back with some more banter and some more fun. Please don't go away. This is Sanjeev Kulkarni, your host and host, signing off for this episode of The Cool Karnis.